53 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me, as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th. And there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi Dad, I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with all decent clothes? Mom!
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
And I would just say thank you to everyone and anyone that is a part of that. Is a part of that.
It's much to bear and you don't care, and I won't play alone. I got you in my sight. I keep all the words you said to me. I get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, now you'll beg me please. Hey.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've got a big show. More stuff discovered. I know that might kind of sound like a broken record, but I promise you, in my opinion, this one is big because this happens on the 26th, the night that he went missing. And there's been kind of two main theories about what may have happened at the cemetery as far as like foul play or suspicious activity. One of them being that he was placed in the cemetery somewhere, which is why we went out there and did what we did recently, and we'll go over what we spent and what we have left. So for those people with the calculators, you know, the ones that didn't donate, that want to know where every cent went, well, get your calculators out because we'll go over that here in a little bit. But anyway, yeah, new discovery. It's like I said, this is something, as you guys said, or as I've told you before, if it's big enough, I will put a package together, like a small video, and then I send it over to my contact, who then sends it to Sumner County, and even if we have to, send it to other agencies. I don't want to get too specific, but yeah, pretty interesting. So lots and lots to go over. Let's see here. If you can, hit that like button. And let's see here. Where shall we start? I guess I'll just remind everybody here, because this is where we get into like the twilight zone of things going on. Now, I have not seen or read the thing that Fish Sticks released. In my last live, I claimed that people were mentioning that they thought it was fake. But apparently, because I said that other people thought it was fake, he now then put out a tweet saying that I said it was fake. Anyway, that's classic Fish Sticks for you. I got my space heater going on. 1 second here. Let this play. Anyway. But just to kind of recap why it's just so wild, because even if what he did was true, and again, like I said in the last live, which I'm sure he never watched, and whoever just whatever. But even if he did, that's great. This is what's so weird, is because they're so focused on this, and allegedly there was some alleged possible hits, but there was nothing confirmed. I've heard like a quick summary of the report, but I have not read it myself. I've just got too much stuff going on as is with the cemetery. But this is where it gets just so weird, because here they're so focused on the construction site, and then I know I keep mentioning this, but it's just, how in the hell are they not concerned when we are discovering stuff literally next door? I don't know how many times I have to keep bringing this up. It is so weird that they love to talk about the construction site and the dogs going over there and all of that. Max went into the square retention pond. Now, he wasn't a scent dog or anything. And then we have this dog here that came at 8:30. And this one allegedly was a scent specific dog. And this is what I find very interesting, is that the scent specific dog, although it kind of travels all over the place, it does end up in the construction area. And although it is hard to track him once, especially as he gets further into the construction zone, he does not take the same exact path as Max. Max went into the square retention pond, whereas this dog leads into what appears to be the what we call kind of the triangle retention pond, which is right next door to the cemetery. So that's kind of interesting that a scent dog goes towards the cemetery, and then we have all this action going on, or suspicious activity going on the 25th and 26th, the night that he went missing. But with recent I don't know if I guess you call it interviews or whatever, with Crispy and KK being on, I think, Queen Bee's channel, and they kind of more or less think it's a joke, more or less. And I'm not really going to play much of this. We played this last time. But obviously, we're aware of what Crispy said and the alleged threat and all that. So, yeah. Pretty wild. Pretty wild, in my opinion. Let's see here. Okay. Trying to think what we got here first. Let me go back just a second here. Okay, let me take a sip here and check chat. So, real quick, I'll kind of address just for anybody that's kind of coming in, and I'll do a recap for anybody that's kind of newer to the case here in just a minute. But I thought I would just kind of jump into the canine and cadaver dogs, or the cadaver dog search in the GPR team, the results and the cost and everything, kind of get that out of the way. Also, I would like to send the the handler a tip. We talked about that, but I thought we would, kind of discuss what kind of tip we should give him. So, as a group, he is furious. Yeah, like, and this is a crazy thing. Is he? Let me play one quote. Let me just play one quote, real quick here. And I try to kind of block out the foul language, so I do apologize in advance. But I'm just going to play one clip here, because I want to respond to this in a different way.
He'll track it down for next year. He'll grift off that flashlight for the next year.
Well, no, it's not a flashlight. It's actually vehicles. None of it's flashlights that we know of yet. But no, it's actually headlights, vehicles, multiple vehicles, and we just discovered a new one that I'll be sending over to law enforcement. Now, you would think they would be happy about that, right? If they didn't have anything to do with his disappearance, this would be great, right? But this is the response.
Oh, I'll tell it. Real simple. You chicken shit motherfucker. Get your ass off behind your fucking computer. Bring your ass out here. And let's go and walk and let's look at what you think you see is. I'd be more than happy to walk with your ass, but you got to get out behind your fucking keyboard first, bitch.
So, I have an offer for Crispy. Why don't you come to my house and why don't you sit next to me and I'll show you the hundreds and hundreds of hours of what I have to do to get the footage. They come in 1 minute clips, right? So to get an hour, so let's say I want to look at 4 a.m. on the 26th, right? From a specific camera. It comes in 1 minute clips. So I have to take those 1 minute clips, put those all together in order into an hour. So I have to have 60 clips, 60 1 minute clips, put those together and then make that into a 1 hour video. And then I have to do that for each hour that I'm interested in. And that takes just 1 hour alone. I mean, it kind of takes anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, just 1 hour, just to get it ready. Then I sit there and look at that hour, scrolling back and forth. And I've shown you guys kind of how I do it a little bit. Some of them, I don't want to give all my secrets away, but I have my tricks. And that's what I've been doing. Now, you would think, Mama Bear here would be, appreciative of that I spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours discovering new stuff. This is surveillance footage near the area where your son went missing, yet this is the response we're getting, right? It don't make sense. So anyway, I apologize for the I shouldn't have to apologize for his potty mouth, but
seen here.
So I'm just gonna play this small clip. This is not the recap. I mean, it kind of is, but this is just to go in why we did the GPR and cadaver dog, and then we'll go over the results and the cost of that. And then we'll go over the recap. And then I promise you, when I show you the new stuff, I'm telling you, it is big.
There's another daytime shot overlaid with nighttime where you can see the memorial to the right, and in the yellow box is where we see headlights from a vehicle. But what's interesting is the fact that the vehicle seen at 3:45 a.m. has its headlights facing west on a part of the road that goes north and south. Also, this vehicle appears to be in the middle of the loop on the west end of the cemetery in this location. Shown here is the exact location the headlights were seen. Notice how the road isn't very wide. I also figured out that the headlights captured at 3:45 and 3:49 a.m. are at two different heights seen here. Notice when putting a static line in same spot, one light is higher up than the other one, meaning there were at least two different vehicles driving around the cemetery on the night before Sebastian Rogers disappeared on the 25th. So what were they doing, and how did the memorial site light up?
Okay. So, in a nutshell, and again, if you're anybody that's kind of newer, I do apologize, but I kind of want to get this part out of the way, but we will do a recap of kind of just the basic stuff, but we just keep finding new stuff, and I need to kind of I'm going to probably do a part 2 video, kind of like what I did, where I released, like a 16-minute video. I am working on a part 2, because since part 1, we've found so much more. But basically, in a nutshell, because of what we saw so much on the 25th with the vehicles and where they were at, and if you're a member of Patreon, then you would seen the video that I released earlier today. I wanted to have it out yesterday, but we've been waiting for them to send us. They're supposed to send us the data, some of the imagery, apparently, but they said it would take a couple of days, and again, this happened on Monday, and here it is Thursday, and we still haven't heard anything, so I'm hoping, I'm sure we'll get it, but it would have been nice to kind of add that in, so if we do get it, then maybe, I guess we'll turn that into another video, but anyway, so they went out there on the 11th, on Monday, 4 days ago, and they ran over the gravesite that we were concerned with, just because the vehicles were seen exactly in that area, and then the way the columbrium was lit up, we've shown Silver's video and how he lit that up. Just there's so many things that just felt like it connected, but although they did scan and they saw the vault, they didn't see anything that was, would be an anomaly or anything like that. Now, the one thing that I did mention in the members and Patreons is that we do kind of want to get a second opinion with that data that hopefully they send over, because for those that, and again, I went with this kind of technology, obviously it's very advanced, definitely way over my head. But I mean, I understand it, but it's pretty amazing how all this stuff works. But in a sense, if Sebastian was buried, let's say, on top of a fresh grave, that means he would be more shallower, maybe 2 feet down or something. The interesting thing is when they scan the ground, the deeper something is, the easier they can see it. The more shallower, so more towards the surface, it's actually harder to see certain anomalies. You'd think it would be reverse, but as I mentioned in the members video, I'm assuming it's because you're sending signals down and those signals are bouncing back up. And because if something's more shallower, you're getting less information, as if when you're scanning deeper, there's more information. I'm assuming in layman's terms that's how it works. But anyway, so with all that, they did not see any anomalies. But again, it would be nice to have a second opinion, because our expert, not from this team, but our expert on the side, she would like to look over the data, because she knows sometimes stuff like this can be overlooked, because again, you just don't have as much information as you would with something that's deeper. So, and then we also brought out the cadaver dog as well, which was a really nice guy. Apparently, I believe he's worked on this case before, with that specific dog in a different area. So, and again, he literally came out more or less for free. All he asked for was gas, room, and board, food, gas, and hotel for the most part. So that was $250, but it would be nice to give him at least, I think, $100 tip. I think we could all come together and decide what kind of tip we want to give him, but we will do that tonight as well. But let's go over the cost real quick. So for those especially that did not donate, but feel entitled to know where every cent went, I will go over it. So obviously we raised $249.42. Now Give Butter, they basically, you can give them like a little percentage of it for, and they say there's like a 3%. That's usually what people do. I did 1% because I felt like, such a, in the thousands. And so I felt at least giving some kind of tip to them. So I gave them, 1% tip. So that's $22.49. So that left us with $2,226.93. So after that then got transferred to an account. And then here is the GPR cost. Now, I was hoping, and I may in the future, we've been asking them for like an actual kind of billing thing through the email. We still haven't gotten anything. I mean, I have tons of emails that I could go through and redact through them, but we basically had someone pay on site. So again, you don't have a lot of information because they had one of those little card readers. I think you hook up to the phone or whatever. But as you can see here, paid $1,100, and the billing address was actually the address at the cemetery. So that zip code probably does not match their zip code. I don't know if the zip code's in here, but as you can see, it cost $1,100. We were quoted back in December. I'm glad we were able to do it on a weekday because apparently they charge almost double on a weekend. I forget the price. I'll next time I'll look at one of the emails, but oh my god, it looked like it was like double the price. So that's $1,100. So we start with that. That leaves us with $1,126.93 after that's done. And I promise you we'll get to the new stuff here in a minute, but I know those people that are not entitled to this information are out there with their calculators, and I'm sure there'll be videos that I made up all this stuff and all that good stuff. Anyway, then we have the Cadaver Dog guy come out. Again, he just wanted $250 for room and board, hotel, gas, and food. So we paid him $250 the night before on January 10th, as you can see here. To the handler, $250. So that leaves us with $876.93. So I would personally think that at least giving him a $100 tip, because I'm not sure how long he was out there, but I think $100 would be fair. Maybe make it $193 just to get rid of the change. What do you guys think in the chat? Let me know if you guys think that. If you feel more, feel less, let me know. I don't know if we need to do a vote on that. But I think 100, is reasonable. I'm just letting people in chat. Just let me know your thoughts on that. So if we do that, then that will leave us with just a little over 700, and then I still have the Venmo and PayPal, which again, I don't want to say a number because then I'll get quoted on it. I'll just say it's like around $100 for right now. Somebody sent something like in the last few days, and honestly, it was like $100, and I personally want to just send that back to them because I appreciate it. If that person's watching, of course, I really appreciate it, but I don't want to have a bunch of money and not know what to do with it. You know what I mean? So if you guys understand, we asked for 1,400. That was the goal. So if you think about it, 1,100 with the 250, if you add that up, that's $1,350. That's literally $50 short of 1,400. And then with, giving a $50 tip to them originally to the dog handler, we would have been squared, everything done. So you can see why that $1,400 was the goal. But I thought it would stop when we hit the goal, but it apparently did not. So, but people wanted to keep donating. So we're working on some ideas. And of course, we won't do anything without everybody's approval. We'll do a vote or whatever. There's also a couple of things we won't mention today because, I want to get into the new stuff, but we'll mention in the next live kind of some ideas that we can do. But I appreciate that, Sassy. I do feel like, be transparent but yeah. Again, I wouldn't be on this channel for 4 years if I be running scams, right? People don't last long if you're not honest and you're not transparent. So anyway, all right, let's do a recap, and then once we do the recap, I'm going to show you guys the new stuff. And I promise you, I know it's kind of a broken record because I keep finding more stuff, but this one's big. I'm telling you guys, because again, this is on the 26th. There's activity on the 25th and 26th, and this is big because we kind of thought, like I said, two scenarios. Either he was placed there in the cemetery, and that 25th, everything going on the 25th was kind of a practice run, and then they put him in there on the 26th, or the other scenario is they handed him off there. Well, with what I'm going to show you guys, this would back up the handing off part, in my opinion. So, and I think that could definitely lead to them looking at other footage that they probably weren't thinking about or haven't really examined enough. And so, yeah. Yeah, Brenda, that's a great idea. Again, we will definitely come together. Obviously I'm not going to do anything without us as a group. We are a team, and, with this money, there are, like I said, there's a few other things that we could spend, a little bit of that money on that I think would be very worth it. But yeah, we will come up as a group, and not do anything rationally without kind of coming together. So I will play this recap because I know there's more and more people getting invested in this and don't know all the details. So here's just kind of a little recap to go. Oh, I appreciate that, Lisa. I really do. I mean, I know a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people trust me, and it means a lot. But of course, I'm always going to be transparent when it comes, especially this kind of money. Again, I was really hoping to have it just spent perfectly and not have anything left over. But it just shows how much you guys care. So again, amazing. All right, here's the recap, guys. Go full screen real quick.
Will suspiciously disappeared. Approximately 500 yards away, just beyond the construction site, a bright light was captured on surveillance. Figure out what was this light, where it was coming from, and how it connected to Roger's disappearance. And what we found will absolutely shock you.
Come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
Sebastian Rogers was last physically seen on camera leaving the Texas Roadhouse with his mother Katie Proudfoot on Feb 25th. Whether he actually made it home that night is highly debated, but what I have recently discovered on surveillance from a nearby camera in Rogers' neighborhood could hold the answers to what may have happened to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers' home is located here. The surveillance camera that captured the suspicious activity is located approximately here, with 2 cameras pointed towards the east, overlooking the construction site and further. The suspicious activity seen on these cameras took place here at this cemetery and also school. Just after this suspicious light illuminates for approximately 6 minutes, a little before 3:30 a.m. At 3:32, a headlight of a vehicle can be seen moving south in the cemetery. This would not be the only vehicle seen that night. Another vehicle is seen at 3:45, and just 4 minutes later, another headlight is seen at 3:49. Although there is 2 cameras that overlook the entrance to the church and cemetery, as of now, there is no sign of these vehicles seen, entering or exiting, the only main entrance to the south. On the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared, the suspicious light can be seen again at around 3:40 a.m. It is illuminated for around 6 minutes, just like on the 25th. Then after it's done being illuminated, minutes later, multiple vehicles can be seen, driving in the cemetery and at the school. Once again, more suspicious activity the night Rogers went missing. So what is the object that is being illuminated for around 6 minutes on the 25th and 26th, and how could it be connected to Sebastian Rogers' disappearance? Here is a daytime shot from the surveillance camera where you can see the construction site. It is also overlaid with the nighttime shot of the suspicious light source. You can see how the suspicious light is just beyond the construction site in the cemetery. As Silver's on the scene, drives through the cemetery, you can see that the construction site is to his left. As he continues north, he is now in the middle of the cemetery, approaching a loop. As he turns right, you will notice what they call lumbry. This object is made out of highly reflective material, like concrete, granite, and marble. This memorial also sits at a slight tilt when viewing from the east, just like the object seen in the surveillance footage. Notice both objects are rectangular in shape. As you can see here, this memorial has no artificial lighting, not in the front or the back, so whatever caused this to be illuminated at 3 a.m. on the 25th and 26th had to have come from another light source, but what? The obvious answer would be headlights from a vehicle, but what we discovered about this answer would prove to be quite disturbing and shocking.
So there is a daytime to nighttime shot of the columbarium where you can actually see it during the daytime in the footage there. and it is pretty tall, and there is Silvers out there doing different experiments. He's standing there with the flashlight, trying different ways to illuminate it, to get it to illuminate the way that we see it in the surveillance, but nothing quite worked as well as when he used his high beams, which was interesting. And I agree with a lot of people in chat about, maybe giving Silvers and them some gas money. But again, of course, I have no issue with that, but I would,
Seen here.
prefer that we come together as a group and, have a consensus about that. But yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Is another daytime shot overlaid with nighttime where you can see the memorial to the right, and in the yellow box is where we see headlights.
So we'll probably skip this. Well, I'll play a little bit of it, but this was kind of what led us to the GPR team and everything that I kind of explained earlier. I'll let this play just a little bit. But then the new stuff that I discovered is right around the corner.
Seen here. Notice when putting a static line in same spot, one light is higher up than the other one, meaning there were at least two different vehicles driving around the cemetery on the night before Sebastian Rogers disappeared on the 25th. So what were they doing, and how did the memorial site light up?
There it is. What do you see now?
During the control tests, Silvers on the scene and others tried many different things to illuminate the memorial in the same way we saw it on surveillance. But every test, including driving next to it, parking near it, using headlights and other objects such as flashlights, just would not create that same illumination effect until on day 2, Silvers on the scene did this.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here and
During Silver's control test, he parked on the west end, in the middle of the loop, seen here on this map. He had turned his car towards the memorial. When doing this, he figured he would try and turn on his high beams, as nothing so far had worked up to this point. Upon doing this, he illuminated the memorial just as it was seen in the surveillance. Here was his reaction.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here and I've come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
This spot Silvers is sitting at is the same spot where the two vehicles seen on the 25th were exactly positioned. And what's even more crazy is the fact that one of the vehicles at 3:45 a.m. appeared to have come out of the gravesite in that same spot Silvers was parked, as if they had been backed in, then pulled out and turned south.
Okay. Yeah, I like that idea, and yeah, I think doing like a poll or something like that, or like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And also, we got the anniversary coming up. I think could be some great things that we could do with some of that money for the anniversary, right? Kind of like how Voices of Truth did that thing for Sebastian's birthday with Culver's. And getting flyers and something like that. What if we were able to get like a franchise like Starbucks or something, something big, where it's not franchised, right? Because franchise, I think means, correct me if I'm wrong, because my dyslexic mind, but franchise means that there's different owners, right? Or is it reversed? Either way, Starbucks, if we could get it, would be amazing. It'd be huge. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Yeah. So I think we could definitely come together with something like that. And Yeah. But we'll obviously we've got plenty of time. Don't want to rush through, but I want to make sure, we're all on the same page about what we do with the rest of the money, right? So, okay. So the new light, the Scout. Now this isn't the new thing. This is the thing that I've discovered before. This is kind of one of the newer things, but this plays into, because this thing bothered me a lot. The Scout. So let me play it. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this. You've been watching, but I promise you, what I've discovered in the last 24 hours will play into this, because there is this light that's seen on both the 25th and the 26th, and it is more over by the church area. These lights here, I'm pretty sure, are part of the church, and this is kind of the first part of the cemetery. As if you're just to pass the church, you're heading north. That's that first little plot, and it appears that there is what I call a Scout up on that area. And it's just, what's interesting is that area is, got a higher elevation. So, if you were a Scout, that would be a great spot to be in. You could overlook anybody that's coming from the entrance. You could overlook the cemetery, the school. I mean, it's a great vantage point. And again, whatever they're lighting up, it's static. It's, it kind of has the same properties as the columbrium, where it's like it's something being lit up for a short amount of time. It doesn't move. And again, it's more rectangular, not, round as in a headlight. But it could be a headlight from a vehicle shining onto a headstone that we just happen to be able to see through all these trees. As you can see, a daytime to nighttime shot. And this will work into what I discovered recently. Hey, Shack Lady, good to see you. I appreciate that. I don't want to get too specific with the board members, because we were able to get to do our thing. So, yeah, but for the most part, they've been pretty quiet. But, yeah, there's, we were able to go in, get the proper permission with what we needed to do with the GPR and cadaver. So that's what's most important. But I get the question. That is a good question. And I will get to super chats here in just a second. I'm sorry, guys. I want to get to the lead and everything that we have here. Silvers just said thank you to everybody in chat. I believe he is watching, and they are super grateful and love and support, he says, to you guys. So Silvers, that means a lot to him. So I just want to put that out there. Thank you, Silvers. I appreciate that. Again, it's a team effort, and I know more people would love to be involved. And I wish, there was a way to, get more people involved some way somehow. But it's kind of a double-edged sword with because there's bad actors that are trying to infiltrate and try to get info only so they can go and take it and either, use it for clicks and views or something else. And so we had to be very tight-lipped, especially since we had that GPR and the cadaver dog team come out. Okay, so that's that light that I was talking about, the Scout. And there's that vehicle that we see leave on the 26th. And anyway, this light, we see it on the 25th, but the 26th as well. Oh, this is the new thing. Oh, here we are. Okay, so now we got to the new thing. I'll show you. So, because I believe this Scout and what I'm about to show you are connected. And I'll show you guys here why in a bit. But let me just show you the new Discovery. So remember, the 26th 3:50 a.m. car leaves. And that is just after what appears to be a vehicle at the school leaving at 3:49. So you already have two vehicles leaving minutes apart from each other. But now, what I'm about to show you, in my opinion, is huge. Sorry, oops. Trying to... Okay, I'm just not going to touch it. Okay. Yeah, this is it. All right. Let me take my glasses off. So the new Discovery. Hit that like button. So as you can see at the timestamp, it is 2:26. This is on the night he went missing. As you can see the time, it is 4:01. Now, if you've been watching the show, you're probably familiar with this part here. If you don't know what we're looking at, this is the road. And let me do this. Excuse me. So we're obviously kind of looking at this angle here. And unfortunately with this 3D, when you go back into dates, the 3D model doesn't really work. But it's kind of good in a way because the trees don't block what we're trying to look at. But here's this road here that goes to the church, right? To leave out. One way in, one way out. And then there's also this little road over here, which we'll talk about more here in a minute. But what we're looking at is a vehicle. And remember, we just saw a vehicle at 3. So we had a vehicle apparently leave at 3:49 at the school. A vehicle leave at 3:53 a.m. 4 minutes later. And then at 4:01, here we are. There it is. In the same exact spot that we saw at 3:53. And if you missed it, I'll have a slow motion one. And we'll go over it again as well. But here it is, slow motioned. Wait till it hits 3:26 mark. And about 25-26 mark. Let's start here and it kind of finishes here. Remember, that's the church lights there at the top of the building. Kind of the triangle thing. Right here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, sorry. There it is. There's our car. And again, this is super slow mode. I think we see it maybe one more time somewhere about in here. But yeah, that is a car on the 26th, leaving at 4:01. So that definitely confirms, without a doubt, that is 2 vehicles in the cemetery on the night Sebastian went missing, and most likely a third vehicle that was at the school leaving about the same time. They're almost like 4-minute difference or something. That's too many coincidences. What are, at the very least, 2 vehicles, definitely, without a doubt, there's no doubt, in the cemetery leaving? It's tough to say, KB, because remember that specific spot, we have 2 cameras that overlap each other in that kind of area, and later on I'll show you guys footage from the other camera, which we actually see it on the other camera even more. So yeah, this is big. This is huge. So definitely 2 cars in the cemetery on the 25th and the 26th. And most likely a vehicle at the school on the 25th and the 26th. So most likely 3 vehicles. There is a small chance that maybe one of the 2 vehicles at the cemetery, I'm confusing. It looks like it's at the cemetery or the school, and it's really at the cemetery. There's a small possibility that could be the case, but I don't think so. But again, but definitely there's 2 vehicles in the cemetery. So that is huge. So let's see. This is okay. So this is the Scout. So this is why I looked at. So if you notice, remember how if you guys have been watching this whole time, you guys remember when I responded to Crispy saying, how he wants to show me what I think I see in the footage. Well, I offer him, why don't you come sit down next to me and I'll show you what I have to go through just to get this footage ready, put it together in an hour form because I get it in 1-minute clips. So I have to get 60 clips put together and make that video, and that's just 1 hour. But, for the most part, I've looked at other hours, but mainly I've been looking at the 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., if that makes sense, on the 25th and 26th, because that's where all the action's going on. But I thought, well, there's this Scout on the 26th that obviously at 3:53, that one vehicle, the first vehicle in the cemetery, leaves, but we still have this light here. So remember, there's already been a car that's left the church at 3:53, and we have this Scout that starts at 3:55 and goes till 3:57. So to me, that told me, well, there's got to be another car in there, most likely, and we should probably see another vehicle leave. So what I did is I went and collected the 4 a.m. footage. I already had it, but I put it together again, which takes quite a bit of time. And then I started looking through it, and then right away, because it happens at 4:01, I saw the vehicle. And so that tells me this is, in my opinion, almost, I'd be 90% sure, whatever this light source, this Scout, and I'll show you kind of where it's at, this person has to leave, right? Because we saw the one car at 3:53 leave, but there's clearly another light source still in there, the Scout. So they have to clearly leave. So I went to the 4 a.m. footage, and lo and behold, there's the vehicle. And then I went and collected the footage from the other camera for the 4 a.m., put that together, and then there it is on the other camera. So this is a huge find. So this tells me this is definitely this, in my opinion, the scout that was waiting there. All that stuff happened before, right? This is right at the end of everything. But I knew, because if there was somebody in there, we should likely see them leave. Unless they go out through the north, then of course we can't see them. So again, this is a big, big find. Crazy Buck, I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it just a car alarm got set off. It is a great question. It is kind of weird timing, with everything going on. But I can't say I know, exactly what happened, right? But it is interesting timing for sure. Because it happened somewhere, around like 3:10, 3:20. I think it happened around 3:30 a.m. on the 26th. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me get caught up on Super Chat while I let this play for a second. And Jazz, thank you so much for the membership and the $10 euro. God bless you, sweetheart. Show Poodles, hey, hit the 1 year anniversary. That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Poodles, for the amazing support, and congratulations for the 1 year anniversary. That's awesome. And you gifted 5 Mob Crew memberships. That is amazing. If anybody gets gifted a membership, if you could thank that person. Angel on the edge, literally on the edge of an anniversary themselves. Thank you so much for the continued support. Save the funds. People trust you, Chris. End of story. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Sensei, for everything. God bless you. Run with scissors. Find Sebastian. We are doing everything we can as a team. And thank you so much. And Sensei, thank you so much for the $5 euro. God bless you, sweetheart. Okay, hopefully I got everybody. Okay. So, So again, here's me showing the light source, the Scout, because again, this was kind of the latest discovery before what I found in the last 24 hours. And I knew that there had to be more to this Scout, as I call it. And so here's me showing an overlay from the daytime to nighttime. And Katie, you got your window down. Katie, you got your window down. Crispy, your window's up. Crispy. They don't listen. I don't know. I try to tell them. Okay, so going to the Scout, because I think this Scout is connected to the car that we see. This is why I am kind of showing the Scout and what I've discovered, because I think they're connected in my opinion. So on both sides, you see the 25th zoomed in and the 26th. As you can see, the time, the 25th, which looked like some kind of practice run for something, possibly to hand them off. So they did a practice run on the 25th. Looked like they did it a little bit earlier, not much earlier, but 20 minutes earlier than what they did on the 26th. But again, we have those two things going on. And there's the Scout literally lighting up at the same time as the Columbium lighting up on the 25th, which is very interesting timing. So we'll skip the cars. Let's see. All right, so this is everything going on the 25th, but we're going to really focus on the 26th. But I'll just let this play for a minute. But this is just an overview of everything that was seen.
So how do these puzzle pieces all fit together? First, we have to look at where the suspicious vehicles were seen on the 25th. Just after the memorial is lit up for 6 mins, we see a vehicle leave heading south at 3:30.
Okay.
And when pulling forward to turn south, we
fast forward this. Obviously, this is some more discoveries. A vehicle which it looks like it's at the school on the 25th. So again, the common theme now, especially this is why it's so big, is we have now what appears to be 2 vehicles at the cemetery on the 25th and a vehicle at the school as well. And then the same thing on the 26th. Definitely 2 vehicles, well, just as much definitely as in the cemetery. Definitely 2 vehicles in the cemetery on both days, which before we couldn't confirm. We just knew there was 2 vehicles on the 26th. But now, having this extra information is huge. Oh, I 100% agree, Shack Lady. I promise you. I've been studying this footage for over a month now. We can see the horizon line. That's why I do daytime shots to overlay. You can see the horizon line of the construction site. None of this is going on at the construction site. I can promise you 100%. None of this is in the construction. And I do apologize if some of you guys are newer. We played a lot of this, and some people may be new to this, so they're kind of there's a lot to this, and it's. I think I need to make a new video here, kind of explaining everything, because since my first video I put out, we've had so many more discoveries. Oh, you're welcome, Jack. But no, I mean, you make a great point. I mean, yeah, you can definitely get, when you're looking at those long distances, I 100% agree. And everything that I look at, I do a daytime to overtime, and yeah. So, yeah, this is what I want to let play. But that's the 25th. Can I edit this out? Yeah, this is the 25th. And that is everything that's going on at this time frame. The night before he went missing. We have a vehicle that sits there while this vehicle moves away. I'm sorry, it should be up on this road right here. Then we have a different vehicle at 3:49 at the same time, or not the same time, but 4 minutes later, going down that same road up on the high road here. So we have all of this action going on. 2 vehicles in the cemetery, Columbrium lighting up, and we have this anomaly, which is the scout. And again, this area, which we're going to take a closer look at, is at a higher elevation. So if you were, again, if this was kind of a scout spot, this would be a perfect area to be in. You'd be pretty covered as well. And again, you would be able to see the only entrance, and you'd be able to overlook everything going on at the school and in the construction.
There it is.
Silver's on the scene, parked on the west end, in the middle.
Right here, and I've come down. Boom!
Now this kind of goes over again why we did the GPR, and I kind of went over that. So I think we'll kind of go over this. But see here, as you can see, there's a horizon line. You can see the horizon line of the construction site there, and those lights are, and the Colubrium is literally at the lowest point, and yeah. And the other way to tell that this is at the construction site is some of these lights, if they were in the construction site, there's only a few trees on one of these cameras. Like on this side of the camera, there's only a few trees actually blocking. So if it was in the construction, we would probably see the vehicle more, if that makes sense. So, because you have all these different tree lines that are kind of blocking our way, if that makes sense, right? We have a tree line here, a little bit of tree line here, and then of course the tree line here. Okay, so now let's really dive into this new lead here. Okay, did I? All right, here we are.
Before we put...
Okay, so I'm going to let this play. This is the second part of the recap, and this is just as important as February 25th, but obviously this is the night he went missing, morning of. And now we're going to add everything together and show you guys that, especially if you're thinking of a handoff, this would definitely be a big piece to the puzzle that would add to that scenario for sure. So I'll go full screen here and let this play just for anybody that missed this part.
All the pieces together, let's go over the night of the 26th. Sometime around 3:10 a.m., the suspicious flashlights in Rogers' neighborhood are seen along with an unknown vehicle doing a three-point turn. Not long after, activity at the cemetery begins to happen, where we see the memorial light up again for 6 minutes. During this same time, we then see a vehicle at the school near the stadium, first heading north at 3:47 a.m., near the same time the memorial is just beginning to fade out, seen here in this overhead view. A few moments later, we then see that same vehicle head south at 3:49, just minutes after the memorial is no longer illuminated. Then literally 2 minutes later, we see another vehicle heading south, leaving the cemetery at 3:51. We first see this vehicle in the cemetery located here in this overhead view. Then a few moments later, we can see it exiting the church parking lot at 3:53 a.m. This vehicle was seen on 2 different cameras exiting the church and cemetery. Keep in mind, this is the only time we have seen a vehicle enter or exit the church and cemetery around this time frame on 25th and 26th. Now, what are the chances that 2 different vehicles would be seen exiting the cemetery and school 2 minutes apart at around 4 a.m. in the morning the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared?
See, now this is where, obviously, this is a video that I put out and put together 2-3 weeks ago. And since then, now with the new discovery, that has changed. There's now another vehicle. But some great questions in there that I just saw. No, Samantha. And one of these days when I'm not finding stuff every other day, I will show like some the days after and kind of show you guys how there's just nothing going on, to show you guys that like it's not something that it's nonsense. People going after SF. Yeah, he's. Don't get me started on fish sticks. My goodness. Anyway.
Before we put all the pieces together, let's go over the names later. Then a school pedigree shown here, meaning it is from outing and been looking out for.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I was editing and looking at the new footage at the same time and responding to emails, and I didn't edit this as best as I wanted it to. But anyway, so now let's look at the Scout on the 26th and add in the new vehicle we found, because, again, I believe this is connected, because the thing about this light that we see on the 25th and 26th, just like the Columbrium, but this is in an area, and I'm going to show you guys on the ground here, a ground view here in just a second. But this light source is somewhere over here. And it's a little hard to see because all these darn trees in 3D. But this is kind of like the high point. I know I mentioned that multiple times. But keep in mind, this light is seen twice. And it has the same properties as the Columbrium, where it's static. It doesn't move. So, to me, I think the best explanation that I can think of, collectively as a group, is it is some kind of headstone that's being lit up, and there is a road that kind of dead ends. It kind of comes into this first part of the gravesite there, plot area, and it dead ends, and you could have a vehicle that's facing north and light up a headstone. And obviously you got to think that there's all these trees and everything, so we only have this like little window that we can see, and it could be that there's multiple headstones that are being lit up, but we only see the one because we just have this little window because there's all these darn trees. But on the 26th, it's lit up for 2 minutes, just like it was lit up for 2 minutes on the 25th. Again, so many coincidences, so many similarities. Again, like it's a dry run that happened on the 25th, and then they executed something on the 26th. So here is, I think, a ground view here in just a second. Yeah, let me skip this here. Okay, this is everything that's going on the 26th from a top-down view. And then I'll show the ground thing. But again, this is the 26th. You have the Columbrium that's being lit up. Now, I don't know if the vehicle's up there. That would probably be the most likely scenario. But that's lit up for 6 minutes on the 26th. And then at 3:49, just as this, actually before this Columbrium is done being lit up, we have another car that appears to be at the back of the school. That comes at 3:47. So we know that there's something in here. And a vehicle comes. Now, I don't know if it's a truck. I just put a different vehicle just to kind of mix it up. But it shows up at 3:47, 2 minutes before this finishes illuminating. Then, coincidentally, 2 minutes later at 3:49, just as this is fading out, we see a vehicle literally leaving back the other way, which is so wild. At 3:49, it leaves. And I kind of went over how I believe we can tell which vehicles at the cemetery and school using these bleacher lights. I'm not going to get too specific with that because we have so much to go over. But then at 351, we see a vehicle moving at the lower end of the kind of near the Y part at 351, and then at 353 we see it going up towards the church right here. And then just after that at 355 to 357 we have the Scout that lights up and fades out. And so because of that, as I explained earlier, I knew I needed to look and see if there was another vehicle, because interestingly enough, at 358, there is a vehicle heading west on Long Hollow Pike at 3:59 and 6 seconds. Yep. And I do believe that could be the vehicle, because there isn't many vehicles going up and down Long Hollow at 3 a.m. in the morning. There are a few, but not a lot. So, like I said, I knew that I needed to look to see what happens with this Scout on the 26th. And so here is that area. Sorry, and I'm gonna stop and read chat here in a minute. Okay, here. There we go. So that Scout is somewhere around in this area. This is walking back towards south. But that Scout would be likely to the right. Here's a daytime to overnight overlay. And you can see the church. This is why I did this. This is something I did recently where we can see the church. I've heard rumors that is the spot. I can't say 100%. But that would be very, very interesting. It'd be very coincidental. But as you can see, it's got that triangular shape, and I think there are lights on this building, just to kind of give you an idea. As you can see, the triangle that it put up. Obviously, we're kind of looking at it from a slightly different angle versus that shot there. We're kind of looking more at it almost, I wouldn't say directly on, but different angle. But there's that light. There's the church. And here is a video sent in, I believe, here in just a second. And there's this road right here that if you come in, there's basically the main road that takes you into the cemetery. And then there's a road that cuts off and takes you into this plot right here where this person is standing. And there's a little parking stall. As you can see, there's kind of the vehicle. And this person's standing right on the edge. Let me pull up the map here. And pull up the old date, make it easier. There we go. And so there is this little dead end road here. Obviously wraps around. And it appears like there was a car sitting there. And again, this is high ground. And then they're illuminating, as you can see here, there's a couple of big headstones from where this person's standing. We got this one here, and then the one that piques my interest is this very tall one back here. It is definitely, in my opinion, from what I can see, the tallest, which is this one here. But as you can see, you would be able to overlook everything that's going on. And if this was like a handoff, obviously you would have be able to see the entrance, what's going down in the cemetery. Obviously, most of this was construction. They did have, some home development there, but all of this wasn't there before. And we would be looking almost this direction. So that headstone, I mean, again, I can't say 100%, but boy, that lines up pretty well. And again, as you're seeing right here, that is that thing being illuminated. Yeah, it's somewhere around there, Tessa. It's, I wouldn't be able to say 100%, but I mean, thanks to, our team that go out there, it definitely helps us kind of knock off certain ideas and get us closer to more probable scenarios of what being illuminated. But again, just going back to the fact that that light that we see illuminates at the same time this does is interesting. So again, you can see the road and whatever's being illuminated. Yes, that's the retention pond just right there, which is interesting. And again, then you have that columbarium that's right there. But I haven't shown you guys the other footage yet. But here's another good look at just kind of how you've got the vantage here. You've got that West End loop where we searched and where those two cars were on the 25th. The columbarium, I believe that's the columbarium right there. And obviously to our right would be the only entrance in or out. And this is all in that area around where that light source is coming from. Yeah, we did. We checked it. I mean, as far as like cadaver dog, it's definitely been checked out. So this is what's really, really interesting. This is where, again, you just have more connections that just, it boggles my mind, and it's starting to all kind of piece together very slowly. But so this is what I note from between the 25th and the 26th, and then I'll show footage from the other camera. But on the 25th, the night before he goes missing, the
other major thing to note,
very odd thing is, on the 25th, we see no vehicles enter or exit. I mean, I have looked and looked and looked. Not saying they're not there, but I cannot find them, which tells me until I do see them, they likely left through the back gate, which is interesting. Versus the 26, where it's the opposite.
Is there is no sign of any vehicles entering or exiting the cemetery or church on the 25th. There are only two entrances, the main one off Long Hollow Pike, and the only other one is off Ward Lane to the north, but it is fenced in and has a gate with a lock. It appears these vehicles likely entered off Ward Lane, or somewhere off-road, like between school and cemetery. This also adds to the mounting evidence of nefarious activities. On the early morning of the 26th, when Sebastian Rogers allegedly went missing, you have the mysterious 3 a.m. lights going on next to his home. Then 20 minutes later, activity at the cemetery begins to happen. What are the odds of that in true crime? I believe they could have been preparing the night before of the 25th at the cemetery, perhaps getting a hole or even a fresh grave ready one night before. Then on the early morning of the 26th, the parties responsible for Rogers' disappearance move him to the cemetery with things all ready from night before. This would make sense as to why the timeline and order of events lines up with what we've seen in this overhead view.
So obviously much more discovery for the 26th.
The other disturbing thing to note is the fact that at least one person was buried at this cemetery.
So obviously that's the lead that we went into with the GPR team. And yeah. Okay, I'm going to get through this last point and then I'm going to answer questions because I know there's a lot of questions. But I'm going to show you guys both camera angles for this new thing, this Scout, because I think this is the Scout leaving. Obviously, the light, that I've been showing you guys near the area here, right? This area here. So it appears that a vehicle left the school at 3:49. A vehicle left definitely, for sure, at 3:53. And then 2 minutes later, we see this thing light up for about 2 minutes. Ends at 3:57. And then 4 minutes later, which would make sense for somebody to get back in their vehicle if they were out for a second, get back in their vehicle, and then drive out. Oops, let me turn this down. And I'll show you on the other camera. Here we are at 4:01, and at 26 seconds, we will see a vehicle. And remember, that's the church area, and that light source was right about in here, but there it is. And wait until you see the other camera angle. I literally just pulled it up like an hour before we went live. I thought I'd look at that one, see if I could see it on that camera. And boy, howdy, you can see it very well. So there is that camera. So now a new camera angle that you guys have not seen yet. And then I'll get through this and then I'll go back and answer questions. I do apologize. But here we go. This is the other camera angle. They both overlap each other. The cameras both are on each side of the home, and they both kind of, one's northeast and one's pointing southeast, and so they do overlap a little bit. So as you can see, that is the bleachers That's the bleacher lights. That is the church lights right over here. Obviously, the spacing of them look different because the cameras are in different angles, but those are the bleacher lights on this part of the stadium right here. So keep that in mind, those lights, because those bleachers were taken down for a while, and that was during the time that Sebastian went missing. But they still had the lights up, so they're all right here. So those lights right there are the bleachers. The stadium would be kind of like here, and that's the left side of the stadium, the north side of it. And here we go. So boom, light source there. And then about a minute later, so obviously it traveled. It's almost like maybe the car went down, checked, and then came back. Still have to kind of figure out. Or maybe it just off-roaded and then came back around. Who knows? But either way, we see the light source here, which crosses in front of the lights in the bleachers. And then we're going to see it over by the cemetery. Or, excuse me, the church. In the cemetery, but near the church. A minute later. There it is. Right there. Right there. And it's going to disappear. That's the negative of the same thing we're looking at the same exact time. And I replay it again here in just a second. I think regular speed. And then once I get through this, I'll get to questions. But hit that like button, guys. Again, get this out there. We want law enforcement to see this. There's rumors have it that certain law enforcement, watch one or two videos here and there of my show. But clearly, you can see that vehicle very well as we zoom in on it. And remember, this is kind of the church area, and there it is. And there it is still. And it disappears. Very interesting. And again, this is something, in my opinion, that's so big that I have to put a package together for Sumner County tomorrow. Just in case if they have not seen this. Here's a daytime to overnight overlay, just to kind of give you guys an idea. That's construction going on there with the daytime shot. Here is where that scout we would see. There's the church lights as we overlay into nighttime. And then I'm going to show the vehicle moving up. And same thing, daytime to nighttime, with the vehicle moving at 4:01. And one last thing, and then I will get to questions and super chats and stuff like that. But yep, there goes the vehicle at 4:01. So definitely confirmed 2 vehicles in the church. And if I have the information right, there's a small possibility I could have one car mixed with, so there's only just 2 vehicles. I don't know 100%. But definitely at least 2 vehicles, but likely at 3:49 a vehicle leaving at the school, just like we saw on the 25th, but earlier time. 3:53 vehicle seen definitely leaving on the church on 2 cameras, 2 different cameras, because they overlap this area here. And then after 3:53, we have the light source somewhere in this area for 2 minutes. And then we have a vehicle. And again, I don't know if it's a truck. I just kind of put a different vehicle. So, again, this is just an example. But a vehicle leaving at 4:01. And again, and then the other last thing, I hope I can get it without it. This is what's wild, and then I'll get to questions. Is the 25th, this is kind of what it seems like. The 25th, you got more activity up here, right? We see the vehicles up on the 25th. This is kind of just a generic breakdown. You know, we have the Columbrium and everything lit up on both days. But we have the vehicles more seen up here on the 25th, and then the little scout vehicle over at the school. And then don't forget, we have a little scout there as well. But for the most part, just talking about the cars, you know, on the 25th they're seen there. But on the 26th, what's interesting, not to say they're not in here as well, but it's interesting that we see, you know, them exiting on the 26th, and we see more activity down on this side, as if they were kind of, if they didn't put Sebastian in the cemetery, they were, you know, scouting the place, and then on the 26th they did a handoff. So that is kind of my best interpretation of everything. Again, there's even more stuff that I've seen. I've told you guys this a million times, not a million times, but a bunch of times. I've seen more stuff, but I still need to examine it to say whether it's something or not. But yeah. So questions. Let me see if I can get to some questions. Let me get to super chats first, and I'll get to some questions. And if you put a question early on and I missed it, try to put it again so I can get to you. Virginia, you're doing such a great job, Chris. We appreciate everything you do. God bless you. Thank you so much, Virginia. I appreciate that. Rachel, good to see you. Thank you for your true loyalty. We'll forever know you were a part of giving his voice back. I've had to ask, did the PI mention reason back in town? Or why left, in my opinion? Oh, are you talking about fish sticks? I'm assuming you're talking about fish sticks. That's a great question. I would say the reason he's back is I have 2 theories. One is I know he has the same footage I do. And let that sink in for a minute. He's had the same footage I've had. And he got paid good money. And what did he do with that? Right? He blamed a teenager for bringing his cat in, you know, at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. or something like that. And then he tried to claim that a guy walking his dog was Sebastian. Wow. He's had all this again. So I think he was brought in for multiple reasons. Obviously, I think it's definitely no coincidence that it's literally almost a month before his 2-year anniversary. So, and then with the whole leaked document coming out, kind of, the timing of that, I don't think is a coincidence either. And I wouldn't be surprised if he would even attempt to try to debunk my stuff, but I doubt he could. There's just no way. Come try me, bitch. Anyway. Sassy, thank you so much for the membership. God bless you. I appreciate it. All right, let's get to some questions here. But yeah. Let me go. I can only go up so far. Yeah, if you have a question and I didn't answer it, try to put it in and I'll see if I can get to it. Yes, they have a few cameras when he went missing. I can't remember how many on the outside. I want to say maybe 3 or 4. Maybe somewhere around 3. I don't want to and they would have covered that, where the vehicles are leaving on the 26th. There should have been at least 2 cameras those vehicles were seen on. So hopefully they're going back and looking at that, right? Because maybe, again, they were probably only focused on looking for some boy walking, and now here we are 2 years later. And obviously I'm sure the investigation has changed and has progressed into looking into other scenarios. Yeah, it may. That Freemason Lodge, it may, for sure. What is this? Was a meetup point for a swap or possession exchange. If Sebastian was alive, then cadaver dogs wouldn't detect him. Yes, correct. But you have to always think of every kind of scenario, right? Because again, this almost looked like they were planning to put him in somewhere in the cemetery with a lot of the information, which, we kind of gone over earlier. Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Thank you, BMW. I appreciate that. God bless. Yeah, that was looked at, Siggy. So that the cadaver dog looked at that area. No hit. So at least we can confirm. If I was cracking a whole new case, I doubt it. It's an interesting way to look at it, but I mean, this is going right on next door to where Sebastian went missing. Yeah. I don't want to speak too much for the pasture. Yeah, I think he definitely believes that there's stuff going on there. And again, I mean, we haven't spoken with the pastor for quite a while because we didn't want to bother them a bunch. Yeah, that's the thing is like if he ignores it, then that what does that tell you? If Fish Sticks ignores this and he can't debunk it, which I know he can't. So, because I know I've seen, again, I don't really watch other YouTube channels. I don't have time. And after 4 years of doing this, I would love to watch and support other channels, and be in chat and be supportive. Sometimes I feel like that's almost a distraction because if I'm in chat and I say hello, then I feel like I'm, kind of, everybody's saying hi, and I know everybody's being polite, and I just, I'd prefer to stay behind the scenes and let that person do their show. And, but anyway, getting off track. Forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, I've heard that allegedly, some people think that I'm making all this stuff up, and it's like, well, go ahead. You've got Fish Sticks. He's got the footage. Try me. Yes, Seth was there when we did the cadaver dog search. If you miss this, Penny, and for anybody that's kind of newer, I can tell you what we did on Monday and kind of what we learned behind the scenes. I could tell you, in my opinion, this is probably one of the best leads they've got right now. And I'll just leave it at that. I can tell you they're very, very interested in this. And you guys know for those that are regulars know, I wouldn't say that kind of shit without being able to back it up. That's SF. That's this clown right here. Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. I wish I could. I wish I could. I appreciate you being here, Carolyn, and I hope you're doing. Yeah, my heart goes out to you. I know that'd be cool. Joanne, I would not say they're not. I would not say they're ignoring this. I don't know how much where you're at in the show because I know sometimes people tune in and they're behind. But if you do hear this, they're very much interested. I mean, I can't speak much to them because obviously it's very one-sided, right? But what we did on Monday, there was things that happened behind the scenes that we knew this was we had something. Even though, we didn't find Sebastian in the cemetery, you can look at it that two ways that, at least we crossed something off and, but we still, what's going on at the cemetery is big, right? And that would be an interesting spot if you were going to hand him off, right? And move him. That'd be, it's right there. It's pretty hidden. And there's way too much activity. If it was just on one day, one day, the 25th or the 26th, it'd still be interesting. But the fact that you have it going on the 25th and 26th, and they're doing they're doing the same thing on the 25th as they're doing on the 26th. What does that tell you? I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I've had a few former law enforcement detectives or whatever reach out to me behind the scenes via email, and tell me straight up, this is, in their opinion, the 25th was a practice run for something. They both literally almost verbatim said the same thing. Maybe in the future, if I got permission, I could show their emails. But yeah, they both pretty much verbatim said, yeah, this is a practice run for whatever. Oh, I appreciate the Casey Ann. Good to see you, sweetheart. I appreciate that, Daffy. And Carolyn, I would love to, utilize your expertise in a future live. If I didn't have this new discovery, I would have probably gone over more of what we did with the GPR. I'm hoping for the CAD files. Still waiting on those. So maybe if I get those CAD files, then maybe we could have kind of a special live breaking that down and maybe getting her insight. That would be really cool. Lisa, thank you so much for the support. God bless you. Any more questions? I'm going to go 5 more minutes and then I'm going to end here. To Kiki, yeah, I know who that person is. They're a good person. Oh, okay, yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know if I, not to say I'm not ever going to come out, but, of course, I love to search, and of course, last year was really bad for me, and, obviously I'm doing much better than I was last year. We'll see. Obviously, I've got so much going on behind the scenes because, and again, I don't claim to be an expert, but it seems like I got a pretty good knack for surveillance. And so, and there's still more to be looked at. Again, I've told you guys, and I've came forward every time, or, I brought the evidence every time. I've told you guys, I have more stuff that I see. I just need to, figure out what it is before I show you guys. But there's more stuff going on. It is nuts. And so probably in the next live, if there's not something big, I will try to show some of the 27th and the 28th. And I'll do kind of like a time lapse and just show you guys how quiet it is on the 27th, 28th. No vehicles in the cemetery, no columbarium being lit up, nothing going on. It is dead. But on the 25th and 26th, it's nuts. And the last thing to say is the stink feet think it's a joke. Right? Like what? In what world? Like again, this is like I'm in the Twilight Zone. It's possible, Lisa. I would love to bring that dog handler out again. But I think we all need to be BHB debunked fish sticks canine DNA report this morning. Yeah. If she did, that's awesome, right? And it wouldn't be surprised. It would surprise me if that is bunk stuff that he put out, because the timing's so weird. Like, why are you releasing that over a year later? It just seems weird. And then it just accidentally got leaked out, so now you're just gonna release the whole report. Like, what? I only have so many days, Angela. I wish I could, but the days that I do have, there's nothing else going on. Serenity. All right, we'll finish up with this. And then also, I don't know if we'll go live tomorrow. Oh, geez, I don't know if we'll go live. What's tomorrow? Friday or Saturday? Yeah, because I gotta prepare what I found for law enforcement. So I'll probably go live Saturday. So anybody in Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin, right? I'll butcher that name. Oh my gosh. Oh, Milwaukee. I'm sorry, Milwaukee. 16-year-old female, Serenity, Sunday. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. She has ties to both Milwaukee and Fox Valley areas. Last seen on the 11th, Sunday. 6/17, wearing gray hoodie. Pewaukee, Wisconsin. I bet you I butchered that. But 16-year-old missing. If you guys, anybody out in that direction, and again, she has ties to Milwaukee and Fox Valley areas. You can call 262-446-5070. But yeah, prayers for her and her family, and hopefully they, it's maybe like a runaway situation, and they find her. Yeah. And then whose birthday is it? Oh, your birthday's Saturday. Oh, okay, Kat. It's around the corner. All right. Well, we'll go live. Yeah, I agree, Liz. I'm sorry, Liz. 100%. I agree. I have to be careful with how I say that, officer. All I can say is they are interested. I can guarantee you that they are interested, right? Think about this as well. We told them that we were going to go out and do GPR, right? Ground penetrating radar. I'm sure they know how much that costs. If they had another big lead, I'm pretty sure, because like I said, we have, I don't want to get too specific, but, we have somebody that has a good rapport with a certain agency, and I think they would have, at the very least, said, hey, you're wasting your time. And then after we conducted this, we learned some more stuff, and I can tell you, yes, this is right now, from my understanding, possibly their big lead. Again, allegedly. So we'll just keep chipping away, as usual, and we'll talk more about, because again, last thing, we still have money from the foundation. We have, obviously I'm gonna tip the dog man, so then we'll get a new balance, and I'll show that for Saturday. And then we have the anniversary coming up. It'd be interesting if we could do something with some of that money for the anniversary, right? Like I said, like what Voices of Truth did. And it'd be cool if we got like Starbucks or something big, really big. Get the headlines, the news, get his name out there some way, somehow. I know we could as a team. So we'll come up with something. I'll be back Saturday. Prepare something for law enforcement for tomorrow. And then I may have more stuff Saturday, probably. With that said, we'll end it there. We'll play a pet outro. I'll collect pets towards the end of the month. I know some people have sent some in. Please don't send any more in if you're newer or a new member. Let's wait until the end of the month. It's easier to do it that way. Have people send them in at the same time. So thank you, Casey. I appreciate that. Thank you to all my mods coming out, doing such an amazing job. And if you're a new member, go check out. I just released the video showing behind the scenes of the Cadaver Dog and the GPR team, breaking down a little bit more. And then probably in the near future, we have Carolyn, who is our is the expert in that field. And there's definitely still a small possibility that he could be in the cemetery. I'm not saying a big, but just a small. We would love to, completely cross that off the list. And if you see my members video or Patreon, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But I will mention that eventually in the regular live show. So with that, thank you to everybody. God bless you guys. Hope you guys have a great start to your weekend, and we will be back Saturday. God bless you guys, and pet outro incoming. We'll play I got two, so we'll play the older one this time.
You in my sight. I keep all the words you said to me. I get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, now you'll beg me please. Hey, now stay away. You were never meant to save me. Now I stay away. I'll hear you say you're sorry. Hate I even loved you. Hate I fell in love with you. Hate I even loved you. Hate I kinda fell in love with you. Hate I even loved you. Hate I fell in love with you. got you in my sight. I keep all the weight you said to me. I get you, get you, get you, get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, get you, get you. Now you beg me, please. Hey. Now I stay away. You were never meant to save me. Now I stay away. I wanna hear you say you're sorry.